Field education is an aspect of every social worker's education where they are going out and doing an internship, is what some people call it. It's really their opportunity to use all that they've learned in the classroom in terms of theory and knowledge and really apply that in a practical setting.
Field education is the signature pedagogy, so the Council on Social Work Education identified that years ago. So it really is the heart of social work education. It's where sort of the rubber meets the road and students really get to practice what they're learning in the classroom into the field. It's also an opportunity for students to engage in the community through micro, meso, and macro interventions.
It's also a really exciting time for students because it's their chance to really practice what they've been learning, and of course they're going to learn so much more in terms of the rules and mores and things that social workers actually do on the job in their professional practice.
Field's an important part of social work education because it's the time when students really get to practice what they're learning. It allows them to be self-reflective on what their strengths are, what their areas of growth are. It engages them in community organization. It really allows them to understand what the social justice issues are in our community and identify ways of meeting the needs of community members and identifying as a social worker in practice.
There are a number of things that make field education unique at UW-Madison, and one of them is our faculty-based model, which really provides a unique and personalized perspective to the field placement process and to our field model. Our field faculty specialize in different areas, and they have the opportunity to meet with students before they're starting the placement process to get to know them, get to know their needs, their career goals, and through their relationships with agencies and supervisors in the community, they're able to really make some personalized and specific recommendations along the placement process.
Another aspect of our field model is our agency supervisors, and many of our agency supervisors are alum from our program, and we have, between our full-time program and our part-time program, we have field placements across the state of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Minnesota. So we really focus on meeting the needs of the community as well as meeting the needs of student education. So we could not have the field program that we have without the dedication and commitment of our agency supervisors. The part-time MSW program and the full-time program have the same expectations in terms of curriculum and field requirements for students. The only difference is students in the part-time program attend the integrative seminar on Saturdays, and their field placements tend to be where they're geographically living to meet the needs of students' schedule and the community in which they live.
I would encourage students to really take some risks, both in thinking about a placement that would be suitable for them and also while they're in their placements. Field is a time of tremendous growth personally and professionally, and sometimes that career and educational journey can be really circuitous. So sometimes knowing what we don't like is just as important as knowing what we do like, and so in order to understand that about ourselves, we need to take some risks, and that would be the number one thing that I would encourage students to do.
That risk-taking and sort of thinking outside of the box and challenging yourself to do something different, I think is really important and a crucial part of educational process. I'd also encourage students to enjoy the experience. It can be really stressful, but it can also be super rewarding in terms of identifying as a social worker and the amount of knowledge that students gain and the amount of skill building that students gain and the impact that students have on the community through their field placement is also a big process.
I think having the capacity to ask a lot of questions is also a critical piece of advice. Sometimes when we're out and we're working professionally, we may feel like we have to know it all, and sometimes even as students we feel that way. But the truth is that this is the opportunity for students to work closely with a supervisor who's there and available to answer questions. And sometimes the questions raised really help an agency or a supervisor to think about things a little bit more different, think about things differently. So students have something to offer. They're bringing something to those agencies just as they have something to learn.